Thank you for joining my channel. I'm registered psychotherapist qualified working under CRPO, and each day I'm trying to share some valuable information that might help to increase your awareness as a psychoeducation, and that might help you to cope with challenges that you are experiencing. However, I want to note that these webinars cannot be accepted as treatment or therapy. And if you are experiencing serious symptoms or problems, it is advised to have a visit to your family doctor or to visit psychotherapist or psychiatrist. So yesterday we started to speak about cognitive difficulties, concentration challenges that can arise after trauma and can be seen with people who are experiencing depression symptoms, anxiety. And we've been speaking about what happens in your brain during these symptoms are arising and what you can do in order to help yourself to concentrate and focus better and to improve your memory after experiencing trauma and if you are experiencing these cognitive challenges. And today we will continue to discuss what will happen if you will try to divide your tasks into smaller pieces and choosing a doable task. Why it is important? According to research, it was found that it reduces threat load, and when a task feels overwhelming, the brain interprets it as a potential threat, and amygdala starts to scan for danger, including social failure, uncertainty, overload, and if the task feels too big or overwhelming, it increases fear signaling, and as a result, cortisol and adrenaline levels are rising, and in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning, working, memory, and focus, gets partially down-regulated, and that's why when you set too big goals or when the task is overwhelming, it's more difficult to stay focused for a long time and to start. Therefore, dividing your tasks into smaller pieces will help your brain to focus, to concentrate easier, and it will be less stressful for you to start the task. So when you choose a task you can complete, amygdala registers it as manageable, not threatening, and stress activation stays lower. And what happens when you are able to complete the task? So logically, if you set smaller tasks, it will be easier for you to complete them. And as a result, your dopamine release will increase, and finishing a task triggers the brain's reward system. And dopamine helps to increase motivation and reinforces your behavior. And each time when you complete the task and receive this reward, by time your brain will start to interpret it as a habit, and these initial anxiety and stress levels that you were facing before starting the new task will gradually decrease, and this will make it easier for you to stick to your new habit and to continue studying, to stay consistent, to avoid procrastination. Therefore, dopamine spikes most often when a goal is clear, when it's achievable, and when you make a visible progress. That's why small wins work so well. Therefore, you can use this strategy if it's difficult for you to study for a long time, or there were certain tasks that you couldn't start so far. You can divide them into smaller pieces, and by completing smaller pieces, you can help yourself to create a habit. And completion builds confidence. Predictive coding updates. Your brain is a prediction machine. Each completed task updates internal models. And you might have some thoughts that I can act and succeed, and this gives you a sense of autonomy. And this also reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is a major driver of amygdala activation. Therefore, repeated successes would help you to lower baseline threat signaling and increase perceived self-efficacy and reduce anticipatory anxiety. So basically, each time when you are helping yourself and when you are finishing or starting a task, you are sending signals to your brain that you are capable, you can do it, and your confidence is increasing and positive changes are happening in your brain. As a result, it again makes it easier for your brain to focus, to maintain your focus, concentration, and it gets easier to learn. And when high cortisol impairs working memory, cognitive flexibility, inhibitory control, and when anxiety drops, cortisol decreases, the prefrontal cortex regains regulatory control, and it better inhibits amygdala. And this helps to improve focus, task switching, decision making, emotional regulation. So apart from like these strategies, not just help to improve your focus or decision making or planning, they also help to easier switch between tasks and regulate your emotions to stay calmer in decreasing anxiety and stress levels. So when you have less threat, more dopamine, better executive functioning, more completion, your confidence is also increasing. And this is called the bottom-up regulation loop. Instead of trying to think your way into calm, you act first, complete something, and let neurobiology follow. So setting small goals and completing these small tasks in that sense is being helpful for activating the wall loop and will help to initiate positive changes in your brain. For instance, imagine when you set a goal of going for a walk for 15-10 minutes every day. All of these chemical reactions are happening in your brain, and by time after several days this will become a habit, and it will be easier for you to start this activity and to continue it consistently. And as a result, being physically active can also help you to concentrate better, because it will again produce helpful chemicals in your brain to cope with stress better, to make better decisions. And on the contrary, when you have strong levels of anxiety, anxiety destroys concentration, it impairs it. And when you are anxious, amygdala is highly active, cortisol levels rise, default mode network and rumination increases, and working memory capacity shrinks, which makes it difficult to make decisions, to concentrate, to focus, and to stay calm. So when this is happening, it's not it doesn't mean that this is the loss of intelligence. It's just stress chemistry reallocating resources towards survival, and it's how human brain is designed uh, we when we face with any uncertainty or too challenging tasks, or our anxiety arises, and its function is to keep us safe. However, in some circumstances, this is being excessive, and it might become a barrier for you to stay consistent. Therefore, increasing your awareness, understanding what causes anxiety, and as we have already discussed, with people who had accidents or traumas, this activation happens faster and sometimes as an automatic response without even being aware of any thoughts or without any reason. So, in this case, what we are doing in psychotherapy is we're slowly teaching people to become aware of their feelings when they arise automatically, and to ask themselves, is there any threat, is there any reason for having anxiety at this point? And oftentimes then they notice that even if there is no reason, anxiety arises automatically, and after that we are slowly the person is slowly learning how to react to automatic anxiety or fears differently, choosing to do what's important for them, and learning to react differently to these automatic responses. So, why small is so powerful? Why small tasks, small work, dividing your work into small pieces is so powerful? It's because it avoids triggering threat circuitry, produces faster dopamine feedback, creates more frequent learning updates, and builds neural pathways of competence. And as a result, new pathways are formed, new cells in the brain are formed, and neuroplasticity favors repetition over intensity. So small achievable goals, low amygdala activation, and completion helps to dopamine release, and dopamine impacts motivation and reinforcement positively. And repeated success helps to reduce uncertainty. Reduce uncertainty means lower cortisol levels, and lower cortisol levels lead to stronger prefrontal functioning, and this cycle helps to stabilize upward. And I often hear from the people around, from my clients, that it's difficult for them to sit and to study for a long period of times. They notice that their mind is wandering or being distracted, or it's difficult to sit in one place and they get tired. However, according to recent research, mindfulness and meditation exercises were found to increase focus and to help generation of new cells, new pathways. And each time when you decide and try to start with focusing with the smallest time that's possible, slowly your brain will learn and your uh, focus span will increase. For instance, using timers and studying and trying to focus for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and after that giving small breaks can help to create a kind of habit formulation that we discussed earlier in the session. And as a result, by time you can slowly increase this focus span. So concentrating on one task on one screen and avoiding any distractions such as phones or noise or anything that's distracting you, adjusting your environment. And if, for instance, 20 minutes feels overwhelming, starting just with 10 minutes, you can help yourself to train your brain to stay focused, concentrated for a certain time. And when your mind drifts, gently bring it back, invite it back into present moment, and remind yourself what were you studying, what were you trying to read. And this is an act of returning and repetition. And as our muscles get stronger by training, in the same manner, we can retrain our brain because of this neuroplasticity. That the capacity of brain to heal itself, to form new neural pathways by using mindfulness and intentional focusing, reading, learning new information. You can slowly retrain your brain, and according to research, there is a lot of evidence that it can get better. And also, focusing on one single task is important because when you are multitasking, your energy is divided into different parts and flows, and it can get more difficult. So, if you're already experiencing challenges with concentration, focus, it's better to set one to focus on one task and putting your phone away, closing extra tabs, clearing your desk, adjusting your environment, preparing and making detailed plans in advance, and doing it consistently will help to protect your attention. We will continue to discuss what else you can do to help yourself to concentrate and focus better in the next sessions. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, and don't hesitate to ask them and leave your comments. I would be glad to support you further.